everyone, what's up? Okay, so today's video is pretty much the overlook of the July extremes that our country experienced last month. And let me tell you, it was so far from normal on a typical July scale, like, ugh. So let's get into it. I know I don't have any, pictures or sticky notes or anything. I don't know. All my sticky notes fall during my videos when I'm making them, so I don't know. I don't put stickies up anymore. But maybe I should do something else, because it kind of just looks boring with just me and the map. So, I don't know. If anyone has an idea of what else I should do to make it more picturesque, then please, let me know in the comments below. If not, then it's going to be pretty much like this, which is kind of getting boring at the same time, but I don't know. I like it. Alright, so let's go, shall we? Alright. The East Coast this past July, waterlogged. Just waterlogged. Like, OMG, people, waterlogged, okay? Philadelphia. Since June 1st, from June 1st to August 1st, you've seen 25 inches of rain. On average, you see maybe around 8 inches for the same time frame. So that's a lot of rain. And just to let you know, at the end of July, if some of you live in and around the Philadelphia area, there's one localized area right south of the city near the airport that saw 8 inches in a day. And that broke their all-time 24-period rainfall total and everything. So 8 inches in one day of rainfall is a ton. It's a lot of rain and everything. Places even in the southeast, like Atlanta, Georgia, they've seen almost 20 inches since June 1st. And compare that to a year or two ago when they were in a severe drought in the southeast. Big change, right? Yeah. So pretty much with all the rain, it's been keeping the temperatures obviously cool. So we haven't really seen a very hot, sticky, humid summer, which for some it's, good because the past 2-3 summers have been just brutally hot in these locations. So this summer, a bit cooler, but unfortunately just been kind of wet. Wet, and people just don't like it, because then you can't go to the beach, can't go to the pool, and it just feels all muggy and just not good outside and everything. So this summer has definitely been kind of ew for the East Coast. Now, let me say that in the last week of July, or the second to last week in July, we had a pretty big heat wave coming to parts of the Northeast and New England, and actually some of the averages for July were pretty much record settings. Places like Hartford, Connecticut, between July 1st and July 31st, the average temperature, their old record used to be 77.1 degrees. This July, the average temperature for July in Hartford, Connecticut, beat out that old record of 77.1, and I think it's up to 78.3 degrees. So places in the Northeast have not only seen, some rainfall, but they've also been extremely warm on average for the month of July. So just keep that in note and everything. Quite hot up here in the northeastern part of the country. But you know what? That all rain was all, just ew, and unfortunately for August, it's going to pretty much continue. So I really don't have a lot of good news. Not a whole lot of good news, folks. I'm sorry if you live on the East Coast or the Southeast. You got a break today. What's today? The 5th, and yesterday the 4th, and maybe tomorrow. But tomorrow we're going to get a nice little weather system move into the Mid-Atlantic. It's going to spark more showers and thunderstorms. So unfortunately, our 2-day streak of dryness is coming to an end. Moving over onto the West Coast. Now, funny thing that the middle section of America was pretty much on average, on par. Just recently, we've gotten those cool shots, like I mentioned in my other video, and just over the past day or so, we have had a lot of extreme, severe weather outbreaks in Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, and everything. So, the month of July was pretty much on par, on average, for these, middle states. But even now, Dallas is getting into the triple-digit heat. They've been experiencing triple-digit heat for the past 4 or 5 days. It's going to continue for at least another week. So, the middle section is now starting to see those, extremes coming into the month of August. But back to July and what happened in the West, just hot and dry. Cool and wet. Obviously, the other end's going to get hot and dry. In the middle, it's kind of average. It kind of seems like that happens all the time, doesn't it? It kind of does. So pretty much we had our ridge of high pressure situated over the western states. Obviously, that made the jet stream go up and above those states, then kind of dip down into the eastern part of the country. And that's how it works pretty much when you have a very strong area of high pressure set up in one section of a region. On the opposite end, you'll usually get more dip in those jet streams and cooler than average temperatures and more showery and dampness weather. So that's what happened on the East Coast. But the West Coast, boy, let me just tell you, just triple digit heat everywhere, just bubbling. Oh my God, it was so hot across places across the desert Southwest, like New Mexico and Arizona. I mean, places saw 115 degree plus days for like 10 to 15 days straight. Pretty much no rain at all for some of the excuse me, cities and everything. Interesting, I just found out Death Valley, since it's been so hot and dry, but for some odd reason, Death Valley broke an all-time record rainfall for the month of July this year. They got 0.17 inches of rain, 0.17 inches of rain this July, which broke the other record for July set back in like the 1940s or 1950s, I forgot. But that's really interesting to find out because places like Seattle have not like seen a drop of rain for the whole month of July. Yet, pretty much like the hottest and driest place on, you know, the Western Hemisphere sees 0.17 inches and breaks a July all-time record rainfall thing. That's quite interesting. But, I mean, the rest of the West and everything, high and dry, and again, it's going to be staying like that for most of August as well. Really no changes in the pattern, but definitely a very just opposite extremes for the West and the East Coast in July. And typically the pattern is not like that. It's pretty much the jet stream is pretty much situated in lower Canada. Sometimes it will be situated in the northern frontier of the country. But it's usually like that. It just, there's really no dips or whatever. And we usually just have, you know, warm, humid air for most of the country. But this July, folks, it was just not there. And a lot of people are going to remember this July, especially around, you know, along the East Coast. Cool, damp, muggy parts of the Northeast. That heat wave that we experienced, you'll remember. And then obviously, people that live in the middle part of the country, really, you know, not that big of, you know, a July to remember, except for the cool temperatures in the upper Midwest. And then, obviously, if you lived in the West. Whew. I hope you have air conditioning now. If you don't, you should get some for next year. Except next year might be, you know, the opposite, and they may experience, like, snow or something. Who knows? I don't know. Can't predict that far into the future, folks, but if you don't have air conditioning in the West and it's available, I would probably get some for next year. Just keep that in mind. Alright, folks, so that is my weather video for today. I'll be back again in a little bit with another video on something. I don't know what, but it'll be something. So, until next time, remember, folks, keep your eye to the sky.